On our second wedding anniversary, I rushed back from a business trip, eager to surprise my wife, Sophia. But what greeted me at home was a floor littered with clothes and the sight of entangled bodies in the bedroom. My phone still held the message Sophia had sent just half an hour earlier. "Honey, working late tonight. Miss you." The bouquet and gift slipped silently from my grasp, hitting the floor with a soft thud. Inside the bedroom, Sophia's arms were wrapped tightly around her young assistant's neck, her breathless moans echoing softly. "You just get me, Leo," she whispered. Without a second thought, I dialed a number I hadn't called in years. "Dad," I said, my voice tight. "I'll accept the marriage arrangement with the Miller family." I stood silently outside the room, the scene inside searing itself into my memory. My hand reached for the doorknob, then fell away. In that moment, all strength seemed to drain from me. I recognized the man inside, Leo Evans, Sophia's assistant. Turning, I left the apartment alone and chain-smoked an entire pack downstairs. Not having smoked in ages, I choked and coughed, tears welling in the corners of my eyes from the harshness. After a long while, I finally pressed the elevator button and went back up. When I entered the apartment, Sophia had just stepped out of the shower, wrapped in a towel, her damp hair cascading down her back. Her curves were accentuated, undeniably sexy. In the past, seeing her like this would have sent me rushing towards her. But now, a wave of revulsion washed over me. I knew that just moments ago, she had been intimate with another man. Sophia looked surprised, a flicker of guilt crossing her eyes as she walked towards me. "Honey, you're back early." I subtly shifted my body, avoiding her touch. "Finished up with work," I replied flatly. Sophia took my briefcase and jacket, her brow furrowing slightly as she caught the smell of smoke. "What's wrong, honey? You smoked so much today." I didn't answer, just took a sip of water. "You should smoke less, it's bad for you. Let me make you some ginger soup to warm you up." Faced with Sophia's gentle smile and concerned words, I felt no happiness, only a bitter, stinging irony. It was all just guilt masquerading as affection. My voice was quiet as I refused. "No need. You should get some rest." With that, I headed to the bathroom to shower. As I stepped inside, my eyes landed on a piece of lingerie, torn practically to shreds, lying on the floor. It was stained with a telltale, translucent fluid. I froze, rooted to the spot, my heart numb. Sophia rushed in behind me, snatching the ruined fabric. "This was supposed to be a surprise for you," she stammered. "I accidentally ripped it just now." "Honey, don't misunderstand." The excuse was so pathetic, I didn't even bother calling her out. Closing the door, cocooned in silence once more, I stared at the numb-faced man in the mirror, utterly exhausted. Sophia and I had been together for 6 years, from passionate young love to married life. Our friends envied our relationship, holding us up as the model couple. I too had believed our love was indestructible. How terribly wrong I'd been. The cracks had been forming for a long time. I had simply been too naive to see them. After my shower, I walked into the bedroom. Immediately, arms snaked around my shoulders, and Sophia's coquettish voice purred in my ear. "Honey, have you forgotten what today is?" I could feel the distinct softness of her body pressing against me suggestively, but my heart remained unmoved, even repulsed. Of course, I hadn't forgotten. No one knew better than me what day it was. It slipped my mind with work, I mumbled. "I'll make it up to you with the gift later." The flowers and gift I'd driven hundreds of miles to buy were now rotting in the dumpster downstairs. Her uniquely feminine scent surrounded me as she breathed softly. "It's okay, honey. Let's just have a nice night together." Her hand slid lower. A surge of disgust rose in me. I pushed her away abruptly, my voice cold. "I still have work to do tonight. I'll sleep in the study." Sophia, suddenly finding herself pushed away, stood lung, stunned/frozen, bewildered, her tone laced with annoyance. "Daniel, what is wrong with you?" she demanded. "It's our second anniversary. You haven't acknowledged it at all. You come back with that sullen face, and now you're rejecting me again and again." In the past, her slightest displeasure would have made my heart ache, and I would have pulled her close, whispering reassurances. But now, I just said calmly, "You're overthinking it." Then I turned and left. I'd driven through the night to surprise Sophia, leaving a pile of work unfinished. That's how much I valued this relationship. And her? She was cheating on me, feeding me lies. For the first time, I understood what it felt like for heartache to turn into numbness. It was 2 a.m. by the time I finished everything. Just then, I heard Sophia's low voice from the balcony. I couldn't make out the words, but her flirtatious laughter, distinctly seductive, drifted in. They'd just seen each other, and already they couldn't bear to be apart. My heart sank further and further, finally settling into a bitter smile. My gaze fell on a framed photo on the desk. In it, We were both laughing, our eyes shining with mutual adoration, love practically overflowing. Now, just outside the door, she was whispering sweet nothings to her lover. The contrast was brutally sharp, incredibly painful. 6 years of history, ultimately outweighed by a fleeting thrill for Sophia. I lit another cigarette, staring blankly into the night. Sophia and I met in university and fell quickly in love. I hid my wealthy background, planning to reveal it when we got married. But my parents strongly disapproved. They wouldn't accept a daughter-in-law with no connections. To keep my promise to Sophia, I defied them, cutting ties with my family to marry her. The first 2 years of marriage were simple but happy. But recently, Sophia had started acting strangely. It all began with Leo Evans. She hired him as her assistant 6 months ago. He had an impressive resume and was tall, handsome, and importantly, 3 years younger than her, radiating youthful energy. Sophia started taking him everywhere. They were practically inseparable. Sometimes, even late at night, a call from Leo would have her rushing out, claiming a work emergency. Pathetically, I believed her. Around the same time, Sophia began paying meticulous attention to her appearance, spending an hour each day on flawless makeup. She went on frequent shopping sprees, trying out various styles, many of them sexier, a stark contrast to her previously modest and gentle style. Puzzled, I asked her about the sudden change. She barely looked up from her phone, busy learning current slang, and answered impatiently, "What do you know? This is how all the young girls dress now." I just smiled and let it go. Little did I know her heart had already strayed. I genuinely thought she saw him as a younger brother figure. Turns out she was grooming him as a lover. I once believed our love had conquered societal prejudice. How naive I'd been. The next morning, I was woken by knocking. Opening the door, I found Leo standing there, an innocuous smile on his face, holding breakfast. "Daniel, you're home too." I just gave him a cool glance, offering no reply. Sophia, finished with her morning routine, greeted him warmly by name and ushered him inside. "Leo, what brings you here so early?" "Bringing my favorite sister breakfast. Made it myself." At his words, Sophia blushed like a schoolgirl with her first crush. I hadn't seen that look on her since our early dating days. Then, glancing at me, her expression shifted back as she said, albeit softly, "Don't call me that." Her tone held no real authority, gentle and unconvincing. A flicker of triumph flashed in Leo's eyes. He adopted a whining tone. "I was just worried about you skipping breakfast, sis. Daniel's busy. He wouldn't be as thoughtful as me, right? I'm the most considerate, aren't I?" Sophia couldn't help but playfully tap his nose, her voice dripping with affection. Yes, you're the most considerate. This is the best breakfast I've ever had in my life." They started eating together, completely ignoring my presence. A bitter taste filled my mouth. I felt utterly foolish. Since we started dating, I had brought her breakfast at her dorm every single day, rain or shine. Even after marriage, whenever I was home, I made her special breakfasts. 6 years of unwavering consistency. Wasn't that enough? I remembered the girl who, moved to tears by one such breakfast, nestled in my arms and whispered, "Daniel, you're so good to me. I've decided I'll only eat breakfast made by you for the rest of my life. I'm sticking with you forever, no takebacks." The memory was still vivid. But now, she wasn't just eating another man's breakfast. She'd long forgotten her promise. Our love, I realized, was tainted and pure. I couldn't stand it anymore and turned to leave. Just then, Sophia called out, "Daniel, wait. Don't go to work yet. Take the day off." Confused, I asked why. She was opening her mouth to accept a spoonful of porridge Leo was feeding her, their intimacy blatant. "I'm buying Leo a new car. Come with us to help pick it out." Hearing this, I almost laughed out loud in disbelief. It felt utterly absurd. On what grounds? Sophia's brow furrowed in immediate displeasure. Seeing this, Leo put on a wounded expression and interjected, "Sis, it's okay if Daniel doesn't want to come. He must be upset that you're being so nice to me. I can keep driving that old wreck. Please don't fight because of me. I'd feel terrible." His passive-aggressive whining was nauseatingly fake. Predictably, Sophia's face hardened, her dissatisfaction aimed squarely at me. "Daniel, I just asked you to help pick out a car. Why the attitude? I don't understand you anymore. If you don't want to come, fine. Leo, let's go." With that, she stood up with Leo and left without another glance at me. I stood frozen, watching her retreating back. My heart grew colder by the second, until it felt completely dead. At lunch in the office, I saw Leo's updated social media status. "Having a beautiful older sister spoil me. I must be the luckiest guy in the world." The photo showed him with his arm around Sophia's waist, standing in front of a brand new car, grinning happily. Below it, Sophia had commented. Anything you want, I'll get it for you. That new car, it was the exact model I'd wanted for a long time. But over the years, I'd gotten used to giving Sophia the best of everything, reluctant to spend anything extra on myself. That's why I was still driving my aging old car. Now, Leo had effortlessly obtained what I desired from Sophia. Suddenly, my years of sacrifice felt like a cruel joke. My finger hovered over the screen. I tapped the like button. Then I added a comment. Perfect match. Older sister, younger brother. Wishing you eternal happiness. #locked. Shortly after, my phone rang. It was Sophia. She immediately launched into a tirade. Daniel, delete that comment right now. What will people think if they see that? I only bought Leo the car, so he can pick me up from work more easily. What are you so angry about? Making a scene like this, how do you think Leo feels? Do you have any idea how guilty he feels now? I listened quietly, then forced a grim smile. Sophia, isn't your bias a little too obvious? I don't think I did anything terrible, did I? Just offered an objective assessment. Why are you so defensive? And besides, what exactly is Leo Evans to you, that you care so much about his feelings? Sophia paused. Then her voice rose sharply, scolding me. Daniel, your mind is disgusting. Of course, I see Leo as a younger brother. Stop twisting things. Don't try to stir up trouble. I don't want to argue with you. When you get back today, you apologize to Leo immediately. At this point, there was nothing left to say. I decisively hung up. Then I dialed that long dormant number. Dad, I want to come home. After a long pause, a stern, aged voice came through the line. Good. But the condition is, you marry the Miller girl. After a moment of silence, I heard my own voice reply. I agree. Returning home that evening, I was surprised to find the lights on. Sophia was home. She sat on the sofa, legs crossed, wearing a tight-fitting skirt that hugged her curves. She clearly just got back from a date with Leo. Seeing me, she casually tossed something onto the coffee table. This is for you. My eyes remained devoid of emotion, lacking any interest. What is it? Looking closer, I saw it was a car key. Sophia crossed her arms, adopting an air that suggested I was the one being unreasonable, her tone dismissive. You wanted that car, didn't you? I bought you a second-hand one. Your work doesn't require much driving anyway. This is good enough. Performance and appearance are identical. It's no different from new. Saves you finding excuses to complain about me being biased all day. I stood there and suddenly laughed. Sophia, in your eyes, do I only deserve second-hand things? These two cars mirrored our respective places in her heart, worlds apart. The next second, Sophia shot up, glaring at me, her beautiful eyes blazing with anger. Daniel, are you ever going to stop? Weren't you the one always talking about being frugal? What's wrong with second-hand? Now you're being paranoid again. It's completely irrational. If you were half as considerate as Leo, I'd thank my lucky stars. It was her fault, yet somehow, it all became my mistake. My anger turned into a sneering laugh, my tone dripping with sarcasm. Sophia, I'm not the one being unreasonable. You've gone too far. You keep saying you see Leo as a brother, but everything you do crosses the line. Search your conscience, am I wrong? You know exactly what you've done. I rarely argued with Sophia, always trying to accommodate her. This was the first time, and it would be the last. Hearing this, Sophia masked the guilt in her eyes and retorted defiantly. Stop talking nonsense. There's nothing improper between Leo and me, which eye of yours saw us crossing any lines. Looking at the woman I had loved for so many years, she seemed like a complete stranger. This relationship had reached the point of utter disappointment. Forget it. I don't want to argue with you. It's pointless. Wiping away the last trace of lingering affection, I spoke calmly. Sophia, let's get a divorce. Silence fell heavily after the words left my mouth. Sophia's pupils contracted sharply. She stood frozen, eyes wide with disbelief. What did you say? Over such a small thing, you want a divorce? But she didn't understand. A heart dies slowly, crushed by the accumulation of countless small things. Now, I held no hope for her whatsoever. I pulled out the divorce papers I prepared and placed them in front of her. Since I clearly dissatisfy you so much, divorce is the best option. Let me go, and let yourself go too. Instead of taking them, Sophia snatched the papers and tore them to shreds. Daniel, marriage isn't a game. I won't agree to this. You need to calm down and think clearly. Come find me when you've sorted yourself out. With that, she stormed out, slamming the door behind her. This time, her emotional outburst didn't affect me. The words had been spoken, my mind was made up. That night, sleeping in the study again, I opened my social media feed and saw Leo's latest post. Sister says only when she's with me. She's the happiest little girl in the world. Below it was a picture of Sophia asleep in his arms, their hands clasped tightly, fingers intertwined. The provocation was blatant. Clearly, after arguing with me, she'd run straight to Leo for comfort. This time, I did nothing. I simply blocked both their numbers and contacts. The next day, I packed my bags. There wasn't much, just a few clothes. All these years, I had given up a better life for Sophia, living cautiously, humbly. All I got in return were wounds. I was truly tired. The only thing I left behind was the ring I had worn for 2 years. I wouldn't be bound by anything anymore. Coincidentally, today was also the day I planned to submit my resignation at work. My old car broke down again, so I called a taxi. It seemed like fate was constantly reminding me that some things needed to be discarded. As I reached the entrance of our residential complex, a flashy Range Rover pulled up beside me. The window rolled down, revealing Leo's smug, pretty face. "Daniel, heading to work? Need a ride? I bet you've never ridden in such a nice car. Today's your chance to experience it." His tone dripped with condescension. Hearing this, my expression turned mocking, a sneer playing on my lips. Before cutting ties with my family, I'd ridden in far more luxurious cars than this. Ridiculous. No thanks. Enjoy it yourself. At this, Sophia, in the passenger seat, put on a pouty face and snapped, "Leo, ignore people like him. He has no money but loves pretending he does. Let him take the taxi if he wants." Leo adopted a subservient look and nodded. "Okay, whatever you say, sis." I let out a cold laugh and reminded Sophia pointedly, "Ms. Song, please don't forget to sign the divorce papers." With that, I ignored them both, turned, and got into the waiting taxi, which sped away. Behind me, Sophia bit her lip, staring intently at my retreating back, her expression full of resentment. After submitting my resignation, I walked out of the office building. The sunlight felt warm on my skin. Good weather signified good omens. I was about to start a completely new life. I returned to the family home as quickly as possible to see my parents. Not having seen them for years, emotion welled up inside me, my eyes stinging. Seeing their gray hair, I, a grown man, choked up. "Mom, Dad, I haven't been a good son." But parents rarely hold grudges against their children. Their eyes red, they grasped my hands. "It's good you're back." Thank goodness I woke up in time, not stubbornly clinging to someone unworthy. From now on, nothing would be more important than my parents and myself. That day, I enjoyed a proper meal with them, letting them savor some precious family time. During the meal, my dad asked about Sophia and me. I answered honestly, "Dad, don't worry. I've already asked for a divorce. It'll be finalized soon." "Good. Tomorrow, I'll arrange for you to meet the Miller girl." I nodded in agreement. That night, I stayed in one of the family properties downtown. Soon, I received a call from Sophia. She used an unknown number, her tone urgent and accusatory. "Daniel, where did you go? I came home, and you weren't here, and you blocked my number. What are you trying to do? Leo is younger than you. Even if he did something to upset you, can't you cut him some slack? I never realized you were so petty." Hearing this barrage of accusations, my heart filled with scorn. I replied coldly, "Ms. Song, don't forget we're getting divorced. Where I go is none of your business. And frankly, I have no interest in hearing about you and your dear little brother lover." Having been married for years, Sophia knew I responded better to softness than harshness. Thinking I was still just sulking, she softened her tone. "Daniel, I know you're still angry. I didn't consider your feelings. Just come back, and I'll return that second-hand car and buy you a new one." I let out a soft laugh. "Sophia," I said clearly, "I don't want it. And I don't want you either." Seeing that neither approach worked, she became furious. "Daniel, I have my limits too. Even if you keep acting out, come back right now." My voice returned to its cool, flat tone, devoid of any emotion. "Give up that hope. I'm not coming back. Not ever. Sign the papers soon, or we'll settle this in court." I didn't give her another chance to speak and immediately hung up. On the other end, Sophia stared at the disconnected call, feeling both angry and strangely empty. I had never hung up on her first before. This time, my tone was exceptionally serious, somehow. Different. An unsettling, complex feeling began to stir within her. That night, I slept soundly. Soon, it was time to meet Maya Miller. I dressed presentably and settled into the back seat of the Rolls-Royce. On the way, we encountered a minor incident. A young woman's car had broken down in the middle of the road. This stretch led towards the outskirts, sparsely populated. After a moment's thought, I instructed the driver, "Get out and help that lady. If needed, we can give her a ride." The driver got out to speak with her. A few minutes later, the young woman walked over to my car and tapped lightly on the window. I lowered it immediately. A fresh face, free of makeup, entered my view. She smiled like sunshine. Sir, thank you so much for your kindness. I might have to take you up on that ride. I returned a polite smile, replying sincerely, of course. We should help each other out. The young woman got in, bringing a faint scent of jasmine with her that filled the car. We chatted easily throughout the journey, the atmosphere light and comfortable. My mood lifted without me even noticing. I discovered that we were heading to the same private restaurant. When we arrived, I acted the gentleman and opened the car door for her. With genuine gratitude, she bid me farewell. Thank you so much for today. Perhaps we'll meet again if fate allows. I nodded. My pleasure. Until next time. She entered the restaurant first, her figure disappearing from view. I went to the restroom first, then started looking for the private room number my dad had sent. Unexpectedly, pushing open the door, the person I had just said goodbye to appeared before me again. Her expression was a mixture of surprise and delight, her eyes sparkling as she looked at me. Don't tell me you're Mr. Zhang's son? I chuckled helplessly, confirming that I was. The next second, she extended her hand, a playful, charming smile on her face. Let's reintroduce ourselves then. I'm Maya Miller. Daniel Jiang. Our eyes met, and we both couldn't help but laugh again. During dinner, I learned she was a travel blogger whose biggest dream was to travel the world. She was free-spirited and independent, a type of person I'd never encountered before. I told her about my situation, and surprisingly, she didn't mind that I was 5 years older and divorced. Instead, she said, Daniel, I really admire your courage. Her words warmed my heart. I was relieved that there was no awkwardness between us. Instead, we clicked, sharing similar values and enjoying the conversation immensely. Finally, I drove her home personally and arranged our next meeting. A few days later, I received a message from an old friend, inviting me to a university reunion that Friday. After some thought, I replied, okay. I never expected to run into Sophia there. She usually disliked such gatherings, calling them pointless wastes of time. But this time, not only did Sophia come, she brought Leo with her. I hadn't seen her in days. She wore a stunning champagne-colored gown, her wavy hair cascading over her chest, making her incredibly eye-catching. Leo was in a suit, his hair slicked back. They looked like a glamorous, well-matched couple, instantly drawing everyone's attention. At that moment, I was catching up with old college buddies and didn't look her way. The dinner table buzzed with lively conversation. Sophia and I were seated at opposite ends, far apart. Leo was incredibly attentive to her, serving her food and pouring her drinks, acting very much like a devoted boyfriend. Throughout the meal, I could feel Sophia's eyes occasionally landing on me. I simply ate slowly, pretending not to notice. One of my friends leaned in and asked quietly, What's going on with you and Sophia? And who's the pretty boy with her? I looked up, met the questioning gazes around me, and just shook my head. Just then, Leo stood up and happened to walk behind me. Suddenly, he let out a sharp cry, and the hot soup he was carrying splashed all over himself. Sophia rushed over, full of concern, checking him anxiously. Leo, are you okay? I didn't even lift my eyes the entire time. But Leo looked at me, his expression utterly wronged. Daniel, if I did something to upset you, just say so. There's no need to bully me like this. Before I could even react to his shamelessness, Sophia grabbed my arm, her eyes blazing with anger, and yelled, Daniel, did you do that on purpose? Apologize to me right now. Her sharp nails dug into my skin, leaving angry red scratches. The surrounding area fell silent. Quickly, I shook off her hand, my voice ice cold. I didn't do it. Why should I apologize? Hearing this, the fury in Sophia's eyes intensified. She started spewing venomous words. Stop pretending. Who else could it be? Don't think I don't know you've been jealous of Leo for being younger and more successful than you. You're over 30 and haven't achieved anything. All you do is get petty and jealous. You're not even worth a hair on his head. Saying this in front of so many people was like grinding my dignity into the dust. In the past, these words would have devastated me. But now I was past it. So, I managed to smile, my voice steady. Sophia, finally, you admit what you really think. It would have been better if you'd just admitted you'd fallen for someone else sooner. She still tried to save face. Daniel, don't twist my words. I didn't. My gaze turned utterly cold, filled only with disgust. Enough. Since that's how it is, just sign the damn divorce papers. Stop wasting my time. I don't have time to play house with you. It was the first time I had ever stood up to Sophia so firmly. My words hung in the air, causing surprised and varied reactions. Everyone knew how much I'd loved Sophia during our 4 years of university. They couldn't believe we were divorcing. In the corner, a fleeting smirk of triumph crossed Leo's face. Sophia's expression, however, was ugly, her hands clenched into fists at her sides, glaring daggers at me. She didn't utter another word. The mood was ruined. I raised my glass to everyone. Sorry, everyone. I have something else to attend to. Please enjoy the rest of the evening. With that, I strode out. Later, I put the reunion incident out of my mind. A friend messaged me saying that after I left, Sophia threw a massive tantrum and stormed off alone, not even bothering with her little boyfriend. Hearing this didn't affect me. Instead, I focused on preparing for my new job. My father wanted me to gain experience at a newly acquired company, and I agreed. Keeping busy felt remarkably fulfilling. Without Sophia, life felt lighter, happier. I no longer walked on eggshells around her moods or tortured myself with suspicion. I had finally found the man I'd lost 6 years ago. Meanwhile, Maya and I were growing closer, messaging each other daily. One evening, after a date with Maya, we were strolling along the riverbank. Unexpectedly, Sophia and Leo showed up, clearly having tracked me down. Sophia looked haggard and pale, her usually neat hair messy. She was dressed in the gentle, modest style she used to favor, not the sexy clothes she'd recently adopted. When she saw Maya standing beside me, her lips parted slightly, her expression shifting from disbelief to fury. She pointed a trembling finger at Maya. "Daniel, you wanted a divorce because of this woman, didn't you?" she shrieked. "Cheating on me during our marriage. How could you do this to me?" Hearing her twist the truth so outrageously, my face darkened. I immediately stepped in front of Maya. "Sophia, watch your mouth. We have no relationship anymore. Who I'm with is none of your business." My protective gesture seemed to push Sophia over the edge. Her eyes reddened, as if I were the one who had wronged her. "I went to your company looking for you, only to find out you resigned a week ago," her voice cracked. "I haven't slept properly in days. I finally managed to find out where you were, and this is how you treat me. Daniel, we were together for 6 whole years. I don't believe you can just throw that away." After listening, I simply said, "Oh." Then I continued flatly. "Sophia, there's nothing to throw away because I don't love you anymore. The divorce isn't up for debate. If you insist on being stubborn, then we'll settle it in court." I was utterly weary of her relentless drama. At this point, Leo piped up from the side. "Daniel, you're really out of line. Sister was with you for so many years. As a man, you're being incredibly irresponsible. Sis, I feel so bad for you, wasting all those years of your youth on him." I scoffed, unable to hold back any longer. Clenching my fists, I lunged forward and sent him sprawling to the ground, punching him repeatedly. I'd held back this anger for far too long. "This isn't your place to talk. Stop pretending to be noble. Don't think I don't know what you're really after. Now get the hell out of here." Maya quickly pulled me back, urging, "Daniel, let it go. He's not worth it. Let's just leave." I nodded, ready to walk away with her. Behind us, Sophia didn't even glance at the beaten Leo on the ground. She was still shouting after me, "Daniel, come back here. If you dare walk away today, we are completely finished." But I didn't turn back, not even once. Sophia quieted down in the following days, no longer intruding into my life. Finally, the day arrived for me to start at the new company. I was well prepared. Stepping out of the Maybach, I walked into the company building with calm, steady strides. 2 lines of employees stood ready to welcome me. Among them were Sophia and Leo. Yes, the company my father had newly acquired was the one where Sophia worked. The moment they saw me, their eyes widened, faces etched with utter disbelief. They could never have imagined that I would be their new boss. Just a short while ago, I was an insignificant employee in this very company. Then, the crowd chorused, "Welcome, General Manager." My expression didn't change. I nodded curtly and walked straight into the building. In my office, after meeting with the board, I leaned back in my chair to relax. Suddenly, Sophia's voice erupted outside the door. "Let me in. The General Manager is my legal husband. I need to see him." My secretary diligently blocked her path. "Ms. Song, please don't joke around. Without the General Manager's permission, no one is allowed inside." "I told you, I'm your General Manager's wife. Get out of my way. If you don't, you'll regret it later." I smiled. She was truly daydreaming. Just then, Maya arrived for our lunch date. As I opened the office door, this was the scene that greeted me. Sophia's eyes instantly locked onto me. But I simply smiled at Maya, completely ignoring Sophia. "Come in, have some hot tea first. Later, I'll take you to that new restaurant that just opened." "Okay," Maya agreed cheerfully. Seeing this, Sophia completely lost her composure, shouting without any regard for her image, "Daniel, why can SHE go in, but I can't? After everything we've been through as husband and wife, you can't be this cruel." A contemptuous smile touched my lips. "Excuse me, who are you?" I mocked. "My office isn't a place you can just barge into whenever you please. Ridiculous. Now, Sophia finally realized that everything I'd done wasn't a joke. She grabbed my sleeve, her voice turning desperate, pleading, "Honey, it was all my fault before. I didn't know you were the heir to the Jiang Corporation. I really know I was wrong. Can you please give me one more chance? If you don't like Leo, I'll never see him again, I swear." Seeing Sophia's pathetic display sickened me. The person I had lived with for 6 years was actually this materialistic. I couldn't help but lament how blind I'd been. I forcefully wrenched my arm free, my gaze cold. Is there any point in clinging like this? Leo had also arrived by now and stepped forward to help Sophia up. Unexpectedly, she violently pushed him away, her former affection replaced by annoyance. "Get lost." Leo froze, staring at her foolishly. "Sis, you're yelling at me for him?" Sophia was done with his act, her tone glacial. "Daniel is my husband. What the hell are you? If it weren't for you interfering, why would he want a divorce? This is all your fault." In that moment, she blamed the breakdown of our marriage entirely on an outsider, oblivious to the fact that the main culprit was herself. Leo lowered his head, then let out a sudden, cold laugh, his eyes turning sinister. "Sophia, who are you to point fingers at me? Weren't you the lonely one who crawled into my bed, taking advantage of Daniel's love for you while fooling around with me? You're the real slut here." She screamed immediately, cutting him off. "You bastard. Shut your mouth. Leo Evans, let me tell you, I'm firing you right now. Pack your things and get out." Sophia's face twisted with ugliness. Hearing this, Leo clearly lost control. He pulled out a small knife from somewhere and lunged violently at Sophia. In the blink of an eye, they were grappling fiercely. The scene descended into chaos. I quickly called for security, shielding Maya behind me. By the time the guards arrived, Sophia had collapsed in a pool of blood. Their past intimacy had transformed into blades they now wielded against each other without hesitation. Human nature, so easily tested and found wanting. Without a backward glance, I turned and left. After the incident, Leo was charged with assault causing grievous bodily harm. He was sentenced to decades in prison, the rest of his life ruined. Sophia's injuries were severe. She remained unconscious in intensive care for half a month. The doctors said even if she recovered, her body would be frail, essentially crippled. Hearing this, I felt nothing. It was the consequence she deserved. The day Sophia woke up, she sent word through someone that she wanted to see me. I agreed. Consider it final closure. In the hospital room, Sophia lay weakly in bed, her breathing shallow, as if she might fade away at any moment. She looked at me deeply, her eyes filled with vulnerability and guilt. Her lips parted, her voice barely a whisper. "Daniel, I'm sorry. We had something so beautiful. But I was greedy for a moment of novelty. I ruined everything. You should blame me." A single tear escaped the corner of her eye, dampening the pillow. I was so foolish. I threw away someone who loved me so much. I regret it so much. "Daniel, do you hate me?" Unfortunately, there are no second chances in this world. After a long moment, I looked out the window and let out a breath. There's no point in saying this now. I don't hate you. Because without love, there can be no hate. Focus on recovering. I'm leaving. We won't need to see each other again. Enough had been said. As I stepped outside the door, muffled sobs drifted from the room, cries of deep, agonizing grief. I didn't linger. Not far away, Maya was waving at me, her smile warm and inviting. It was time for me to go. Shortly after, I received the signed divorce papers, officially single again. Life continued to move in a positive direction. My wedding plans with Maya were underway. My days were filled with work and happily handling wedding details with her. Fulfilling and happy. 4 years later, I was returning from an overseas vacation with my wife and child. On the street, I saw a figure both familiar and distant. Her back was stooped, her hair half gray, dressed in tattered clothes, rummaging through a trash bin for food. She looked pitiful and almost comical. I recognized her. It was Sophia. The next second, she looked up, her gaze landing on our happy family across the street. Maya noticed my distraction. "What is it, honey? See someone you know?" I snapped back to reality, chuckled, and shook my head, intertwining my fingers with hers. "No, no one I know." And so, we continued walking forward, bathed in the sunlight. Some pasts are best left scattered to the wind. They no longer matter. All I wanted was to hold on to the happiness that was truly mine.